A Russian official threatens nuclear Armageddon on the Western world. The University of Sussex says hormone-induced liquid from men's breasts is as good for babies as a mother's milk. Hamas released a document to justify the October 7th attacks, and Portland public schools are accused of disciplining students according to their race. All that in your quick hits coming right now. What's up, guys? I'm your host, Higby, and this is the wrap-up, where we break down the biggest stories of the week that you might have missed, but definitely need to know. Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, the United States has been viciously sanctioning Russia and backing Ukraine's military efforts, going as far as sending 31 M1A1 Abrams battle tanks, which served as the primary United States battle tank until the creation of the Abrams M1A2 in 1990. According to a Monday report, the deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, who is also the former president of Russia, has threatened to unload the country's entire strategic arsenal of nuclear weapons on the Western world. He said, quote, "Attempts to return Russia to the borders of 1991 will lead to only one thing, to a global war with Western countries using the entire strategic arsenal of our state in Kiev, Berlin, London, and Washington." The deputy chairman reportedly made clear that he sees Western states providing their enemy with weapons as targets. Medvedev seemed as though he did not want to destroy such, quote, "beautiful places," but warned nations aiding Ukraine to stand down before it was, quote, "too late." He spoke of the death of our future and the collapse of the entire world. The former president repeatedly threatened nuclear action and full-scale World War III with the United States and the UK over interference in the war. Would you allow your child to drink milk that came from a man's breast? On Monday, the Times.co.uk reported that according to a leaked letter from the University of Sussex Hospital's NHS Trust, drug-induced breast milk of a man is just as good for babies as a biological woman's milk. A woman's breast milk is tailored to meet their baby's needs. According to the CDC, a baby's saliva transfers chemicals into the mother's body, which causes the breast milk to adjust according to the changing needs of the newborn. To our knowledge, this ability isn't present in biological men. Chest feeding is made possible by ingesting the hormone progesterone, which excites dormant milk-producing glands in the male. Those men pretending to be women are also provided with domperidone, which is prescribed to women who have trouble with or fail to produce milk. Let us know if you'd be okay with your baby drinking a man's milk. Hamas has released an 18-page document dubbed Our Narrative related to their attack on October 7th, in which they assert that their fighters targeted Israeli military sites while also, quote, "avoiding harm to civilians, especially children, women, and elderly people, because it is, quote, a religious and moral commitment by all Al-Qassam Brigade fighters," saying that the Palestinian resistance was fully disciplined and committed to the Islamic values during the operation. I recently watched Israel's classified 45-minute montage of violence that occurred on that day, the majority of which was against civilians. I saw children get hit with grenades, and unarmed residents of invaded villages hiding in their homes before being repeatedly shot. Beyond senseless acts of violence against unarmed civilians, I also saw Hamas mutilate the corpses of their victims, making them unrecognizable while calling for their comrades to record the acts. In one video, members of the Al-Qassam Brigade attempted to behead a civilian with a garden hoe after killing him in his own home. And why don't we even look beyond October 7th? Has Hamas ever acted in preservation of civilians, women, or children? Well, it actually seems as though they intentionally targeted these groups. From 1994 to 2005, Hamas killed 314 Israelis, according to figures from the Jewish Virtual Library, with the majority of these attacks on public buses, shopping malls, cafes, and markets. Do these sound like military targets to you, or do these seem precisely like the places you target if you wanted to kill civilians, including women and children? A federal civil rights complaint has been filed against Portland public schools. Portland has reportedly considered a student's race and gender identity when making decisions about discipline. This policy also apparently factors in race and gender when assigning teachers to students. The support plan for disciplinary action, quote, must take into consideration the impact of issues related to a student's trauma, race, gender identity or presentation, sexual orientation, disability, social emotional learning, and restorative justice as appropriate for the student. When assigning teachers, the district's policy also prevents transferring educators if it would, quote, decrease the building's percentage of underrepresented male or female or transgender/non-binary/gender non-conforming professional educators to less than 30%. The complaint claims that these actions violate the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. And now it's time for your quick hits. Yale has offered an apology for the university's connection to slavery, despite the fact that slavery was abolished in Connecticut nearly 209 years ago. A Norwegian member of parliament has nominated Elon Musk for the Nobel Peace Prize for his defense and advocacy of free speech. Massachusetts has allotted $116 million to keep illegal immigrants housed until June and is spending $64 per person per day for migrants' food. According to the largest vaccine study to date, the COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer and Moderna can be linked to heart, brain, and blood disorders. President Biden is expected to change seasonal gas restrictions related to ethanol-blended fuel, which is projected to raise gas prices, but the administration has delayed that change until after the election. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has instructed employees not to use gendered terms like mother, father, and manpower. Harvard strikes again. The university is under fire after a faculty group formed to show solidarity with pro-Palestinian students posted an anti-Semitic image, deleted it, and then apologized. That's all I have for you this week, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment what you thought of these stories down below, and I will see you right here next week on The Wrap-Up. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.